seconds, he's running. Hello, and welcome to the Nethercutt Collection's first attempt at doing a car review. We are here in the restoration shop where all the magic happens. Every car from the Nethercutt Collection has been restored right here since 1968. And right here we have our wonderful 1930 Ruxton town car. This is a car that amazingly, they should have never even built one with the odds that were so against them. Yet they managed to build almost 100 of them in probably the worst year you could ever try and produce a new car company. So this is a 1930 Ruxton. If you've never heard the name Ruxton before, that's probably not very surprising. It is an American car. They were built in St. Louis, Missouri. They actually shared an assembly line with two other automotive companies called Moon and Kissel, which is one of the reasons why they met their demise after only 1 year of being a company. How this all started, a great idea actually, just the worst timing ever. 1930, height of the Great Depression in the United States, tried to build a car that was unlike anything else. Front wheel drive, chopped roof, no running boards. In fact, this car has a lot of amazing features, so we'll dive into that right now. Starting with the engineering, this car is front-wheel drive. It is not the first front-wheel drive car, however, it was the same year. The L29 Cord came out in 1929. She's a 30. Ruxton started in 29, however, Cord beat them off the assembly line just in time for them to claim the very first front-wheel drive car. Same technology pretty much. It works. Not great, but it works. We just did 50 miles in the La Jolla Concourse earlier this year, and she drove great. But because of the front wheel drive, this car was very unordinary for pre-war American vehicles of its era. Most cars always had running boards, and you could never really oversee the top of them. This car has basically a chopped roof. It is a very low car. I'm barely 6 foot tall, and I can easily see over this vehicle. Any Cadillac or Packard of the era that wasn't a convertible, it's right in your face. And the car, because of its sleek design and how low it was to the ground, because of the front wheel driver, is able to sit really into the chassis. It's not that big of a car, believe it or not. And if I step away, you can kind of see it looks big, but that's because of this genius paint scheme design that actually came from the factory from 1930. A man named Joseph Urban designed this, what we call, well, we're in the cosmetic business. That's what funds the Nethercutt Collection. We call this our lipstick car. These look like lip colors, but this is actually a factory correct paint scheme from Ruxton from 1930. Joseph Urban designed this, and the main goal was to make the car seem larger and taller than it actually appears once you get up close to it, and I think it was actually very well accomplished. Not all Ruxtons had this, however many colors it is, but the sought-after ones always have this multicolor paint scheme. When it comes to the car itself, as far as performance, it makes 100 horsepower with a 286 cubic inch L-head engine, 8-cylinder. It sounds great. So this is how to start the Ruxton. All you have to do, just flip that key on. You'll hear the fuel pump make some noise. Once it starts to die down, that's when you just press the starter button. That's right here. Always make sure she's in neutral. Alrighty, now as far as the company Ruxton, the company you've never heard of, they lasted 1 year, 1929 to 1930. This was their logo right here. It is a griffin. Why they chose that, not exactly sure. But Ruxton fell to their demise for about 3 solid reasons. One, the American Depression absolutely killed so many automobile companies in the 1930s. And 2, they really annoyed Moon and Kissel because they also added to their assembly line in St. Louis, Missouri, and those 2 automotive manufacturers did not like the fact that their numbers of production were going down because all of a sudden this new company was coming in. But the company strife was what really killed them over anything. There was a man with the last name of Ruxton who was going to invest in the company, and when it started to become a thing, he actually pulled out of the deal, but everyone else in the boardroom decided to still call it Ruxton, so he went on to form a lawsuit, which he won, killing the entire brand. Now, amazingly, usually not even a single car would be produced. They ended up making 96 of these in total ever for 1929 and 1930. Now, this is one of only 17 surviving. There are more body styles. This is the town car version. The roadster versions are absolutely gorgeous. I've seen another purple one of these at Pebble Beach years ago. They're beautiful cars. Overall design, Joseph Urban's paint scheme was genius. Everyone thinks that this is just kind of like a do whatever you want, but this was factory paint. Everyone gets amazed in that when we talk about it on the tours, but this car is completely original to 1930. The fabric and interior, which we'll get into in a bit, actually was original to 1930 when we got it. But we did, of course, restore it because this car is a first-in-class winner at Pebble Beach. And she also won Best American Classic. And she also got Best of Show in the Las Vegas Concourse back in 2007. So here we are at the front end of the Ruxton. Now, it has a really aggressive look for a pre-war American car, which most did. However, you'll notice there's a couple very, very different things that other cars of the era just didn't have. For one, very rare. Some did have them, but these are called woodlight headlights. Now, they are extremely hard to find because these were very popular in the hot rod community, where if a car had them from this era, they were ripped off and put on a 32 Ford, something along those lines. It's total a hot rod thing. Now, you'll notice on top of these woodlights, you have the little tail of the Griffin, as well as right here on the radiator cap. That was the Griffin logo, what Ruxton really went for. Right there as well on the grill, and it says Ruxton. Other than that, it's all about the Art Deco finish. This car screams Art Deco. And the little fog lights also have these adorable little griffin heads on them as well. So these little hinges, they come off really easy. And the hood doesn't fold over, but there is your L-head engine. 8 cylinders, 268 cubic inches, makes 100 horsepower. Is it fast? No. Does it have low end torque? Yeah. It does about 55 miles per hour. And here's the fun thing about this car. When we were getting it ready for a show recently, we had the hood off. And this is your shifting mechanism. So when you shift it from the dash, you can actually watch this thing jump up and down.
So pretty straightforward. Most pre-war cars didn't have much as far as entertainment besides the gauges. So right here on the steering wheel, all you have, this selector right here is for your headlights. And you actually have high beams on this car. And then this is to set your idle so that you can rev the engine right here. It's off. The engine is off right now, so you won't get that. And as far as to the key, this is very common for cars of the era. The key doesn't turn anything on. This actually just locks the ignition. So I could take the key out and then you won't be able to flip this over, because if now it's unlocked, you turn that on, now the fuel pump's live, and then I just press the start button right here, and that's what turns the car on. Basically, keys were used more for security measures instead of starting the actual vehicle back then. And you have your typical gauges, which are very tiny. You might need cheaters for it, but you have gas, your amps, speedometer, odometer. You actually have a trip meter as well. Then your clock, your oil, and your engine temperature. Up here's your choke, which you almost never need to use. This engine usually is really, really easy to start up. That's pretty much the driver's experience in a 1930 Ruxton. It's pretty bare bones. These are your windshield wipers right here. So these are hand operated, and they work pretty good.
If you're the driver, it's really comfy. If you're the passenger, you kind of feel like you're sitting on the thing, not in it. And there's this little wooden rack here that is perfect for holding like your sunglasses or something small, maybe a lipstick container or something. The interior, in fact, these are covers that we have on it right now, but this is made of something called silk corduroy. Now, this was designed by a company called Schumacher back in the day, and they are still a company to this day. In fact, when we restored this car back in 2006, they actually made this material for us, completely matched it to the original pieces we still had that were left in this car. However, extremely easy to puncture, extremely easy to scratch, rip, anything. So we put these covers on it to kind of protect it. This is similar material, but the real seats are right here. They're very soft, very pretty, but it's called Silk Corduroy by Schumacher. So here's the back seat of the Ruxton. We have our little privacy drapes. They're very dainty. These are very, very hard to recreate, but that is just something that we do here at the Nethercutt Collection. Kenny, who's our master upholsterer, did a fantastic job in the interior of this car. We have the big one back here. Still goes down by a string. I wouldn't want to use these to get out now, but these are your little help to get out of the car. You have a mirror, and then of course your ashtray. And the cool thing about this car is these windows actually pop out just a little bit for extra airflow. No air conditioning, no heating back then. So you get a little bit of airflow back here. Other than that, your dome light is right there, and it's a pretty comfy seat, I won't lie. I have ridden in the back of this as a child. It's a great car. I love this car. So here we have your trunk or your boot, whatever you want to call it. This is separate from the car. You could actually take this out. This car was a full restoration done here in the shop back in 2003. So these will unlock. There we go. So these are basically like little drawers, like mini briefcases, and we don't have anything in here besides a tool bag that came with the car, original 1930. I was fortunate enough to meet the previous owners of this car that actually sold this to my great-grandpa, and they were claiming that Jean Harlow previously owned this vehicle at some point. Now, Lori, our archivist, has not confirmed that. We have not confirmed that. However, when they bought the car, they pulled all these out, and there were plates and glassware, all with the name Jean Harlow on them. And that was told by his son, and then his dad showed up later in the day saying, "Oh, I used to own that car." Told me all these fantastic stories, but he said, "I know it's Jean Harlow's car because there was heel prints in the headliner when I bought it." So a little fun joke for you. But this is basically your only storage, no room for luggage or anything. Now these do remove though, so you could fit, decent sized duffel bag, but that's pretty much all you had for luggage capacity back in 1930. So that is basically some fun facts and history about the Ruxton automobile. Besides internal company strife, the Great Depression, all those things about it, this car did cost $3,195 brand new back in 1930. It was an American vehicle. A Ford Model A was about $530 to $570. So this is a very expensive American vehicle for the era. Just another reason why these never really came to fruition. However, it is such a beautiful car. We are very happy to keep this car alive and well, take it out on shows, tours, concourses, to keep showing off her beauty, her amazing history, and just what a weird car it is. So I will leave you with Ruxton's company slogan, which was, "A car so low you can look over it, a car so smart none could overlook it."